Well, hello everyone, and thanks for joining me today at Juanette's Crafting Corner. Before we get started in part 2 of our journal covers that hold a bottle, I would like to thank these people for commenting on my last videos. Check out their channels. Jez has a channel, Najez Creates. Jean Moran, found by J&M. She has a channel. Sandy at Kentucky Crafter. Pam at Pandora's Junk Journals. Pam recently did a video on how to make a pouch, a slow stitch pouch. That was fantastic. Let's see here. I don't know of anybody else that has a channel there. If you do have a YouTube channel, please let me know and I will include it so that others can find out about you. But let's get started on finishing up this project. Now for our next step in our journal. So as you recall, in the last video, we completed the inside of the journal. That's the way it looks. And so then for your next step, you need to figure out what you want on the front, because you will need to cut it in half. And let me show you what I mean. So say for instance, we're going to use this image here on the front. I like that image, but we need to have our closure be able to fit in a good area. And I think about there is good. So what I do to help make this easier is I take a piece of paper, and this is just plain old, I think it's paper for wrapping, putting in packages and stuff. It is the height of my journal, and then I want to bring it over a little bit so that some of the sides is also covered. So let me measure that for you and I'll tell you what that is. Okay, I measured it and it's about 13 inches across. So what I did is I laid it on the top of the journal and I made a crease here and a crease there. Then I can take the journal off and work on this piece of paper so that it will align nicely on the front of the journal. So what I've done is I've just creased it on both sides. And then this is my working area. Now this image here is going to be centered. And I know that I need something down here and something along here. And I had gone ahead and pulled some pieces of rice paper off and thought we would just take a look at them and see if they fit. So I've got this image here, but again, to me, that's too many flowers, too many roses. That blue, I think, looks nice. It could go on either side. It could go on that side there. It could go down a little bit down here. And then maybe even a little bit on this side here. Let's see, what else do I have? I've got some plain pieces here that can just kind of go wherever. I don't know, I keep looking at that. When I had it out before, it looked okay. What we could do is just a little bit of writing. So yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. So we'll just do a little bit of writing on this side. And so what I'll do is I will mess with this a little bit, and then I will come back so I don't take up too much of your time, and I'll show you what the final area looks like. But again, it's rice paper on top of another piece of paper. So what I did is I used some of the Ranger Distress Collage Medium, and I laid it down first, some of the collage medium on that piece of blank paper, and then I collaged over the top, again laying some of that collage medium to formulate this, front cover. So what I will do is I will leave it to dry overnight. I will trim this off tomorrow. Do you see how it's a little bit too big? But I love how that came out. I got a little bit of blues here. And so this will dry overnight, and then we'll go from there. Okay, our image has been able to dry overnight. So I'm just going to trim off these edges. I hope everybody is doing okay. I'm doing fantastic. By the time you guys watch this, I will have been to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and back. I may have told you that I buy my son a trip as his Christmas gift. We're just now going on it. This is where he wanted to go. He likes history like I do. I'm going to save these. These don't have any glue on them, and they're good for little areas of your collaging, just to fill in little spots. So look at how nice that looks, and it feels good too. So here is our journal. And so it will go right there. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fold it in half and cut it down the center there. So there will be a side on, part of it on each side of the journal. So I've cut my image in half, and now, well, actually not exactly in half, because as I was looking at this, I thought if I actually cut it in half, this would be part over the edge and part in the front. And I wanted the word France all on that side. So I kind of cheated a little bit and measured it differently. So now what I want to do is glue this down. And I just use my Beacon's 3-in-1 glue, and I want to make sure it's correct in the correct spot. And so I'm just going to put some Beacon's 3-in-1 glue on the back of this and then lay it down. Now we're going to be adding quite a bit of, lace to this and other decorative elements. So it may not look perfect right off the bat. So, but I definitely do want glue all the way to the edge. Just come in a little bit more here for you guys. So yeah, my son and I are going to go to Philadelphia. Some of the things we're going to be doing is we're going to the Betsy Ross Museum. If you guys remember your history, Betsy Ross was the first woman to sew the American flag. And we are going to go to the Liberty Bell. And of course, we're going to go up the steps where the film Rocky, where Sylvester Stallone ran up the steps while he was training. Of course, we've got to have a Philly cheese steak sandwich. That's a given. Let's see, what are some of the other things we're going to be doing? What happened to my lid here? Okay. I bet it's underneath here. No? Oh, what the heck did I do with my lid? I do like putting my lid on here. Oh gosh, what happened to it? Oh heavens, but I better get this on. It'll come up somewhere. Oh, this has to go this way, I think. Let me just kind of lay that there for a second and make sure it's the right way. So what you want to do is you want to bring the edge of the image all the way to the edge of the journal, and that will help the whole picture look as one when it's closed. And I'm just going to take this here and kind of spread that glue out. Yeah, I think that's good. I have got to find, I bet it fell on the floor. Oh, heavens, Hewitt. Where is the lid to that? I'm going to turn the camera off for a minute and look for that lid. Okay, that glued down nicely. And you know where the lid to that glue was? It was in the trash. I swear, sometimes I think I'm losing it, people. It's just, it's scary. Some of the, I don't know, the craziness. So see, I want these words to line up. So that's why if you lay the image close to the edge, you're going to see that happen. So I'm going to put some glue on this side and I'm going to pay attention where I put the lid. Why in the world would I have thrown that in the trash? Oh my gosh. I did recently read on that one of the medications that I took for sleep when I worked night shift. No, I'd work night shifts, so sometimes I'd sleep in the day and sometimes I would sleep at night, and I would take a prescription medication to help with that going back and forth. Well, I recently had it refilled, even though I'm not working anymore. I had it refilled. And so they gave me the insert. So I thought, you know, I'm noticing my memory is just not quite the best. So sure enough, I looked on the package insert, and memory loss is one of the side effects. So you can bet your bottom dollar I am going to be stopping taking that medication. The other thing is I watched a podcast yesterday of physicians, neurologists, and what have you, that were talking about Alzheimer's disease. And they were mentioning that definitely if you have a low magnesium level, that will cause problems with memory, dementia, Alzheimer's. And so I have made sure that I'm taking my magnesium every day. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this close and bring this in and very carefully lay it down, but I'm not going to get it down there quite yet because I just want to make sure that the letters line up there, and I think they're going to if I just leave it just like that. Yeah, if I have that like that, that's perfect. You see how those line up? There we go. And before I lay the other little section down here, I'm going to pull this tape off here. That's where we had the elastic for the jar. And then I'm going to press this down. I love the way this feels. It feels really nice. Okay. So as we bring those together, those meet beautifully. Love that. So what I'm going to do is, again, use my little clip here to hold it together. And then I will glue the closure on. See, that's perfect. It might be off just a tiny, tiny bit, but I mean, kind of hard to get it perfect. Yeah, okay. And so remember, this is our closure here. This just comes down and fits in that little hole there. So what I do is I go ahead and put that in there. I will link these metal closures, latches from Amazon in the description box. Okay. And then I will be able to, I'm going to keep the word Paris there, but the word vintage is okay to not show. And I think that is, if I go about center, I think that'll be good right there. So for that, I'm going to use my E6000 glue to glue this down, and I will turn it over. I will hold it together. I will turn it over. I will add glue here and then bring it up and stick it on the journal there. So I'm going to put you on hold while I do that. Another little detail that I do is I have these brads, and they're various colors, but this one matches the best. And they have like a little tail on them. Well, I don't need the tail, so I take a pair of wire cutters and I cut off the tail, and then you can see there's little holes there. I just add a little Beacon's 3-in-1 glue into those holes and put those there just again as a little decorative area and a final touch. And to pick those up, because once they are cut off, it's kind of hard to pick them up. So you just take this little, it's a jewel picker upper thing. I used it in my card making days, but that Doesn't that make it much easier than trying to pick those up with your fingernails? So let's just add a little Beacons glue here. This is just a fine tip applicator that I have some beacons in. So my gardener or landscaper came yesterday, and I can't remember if I told you guys, but I want to plant my winter garden. And but the other day I went out there because it's, you know, a new house or a newer house to me, and they had a garden in there previously, but I used my shovel and I tried to dig down into the dirt. Oh my gosh, it was hard as a rock. So I thought, and I may have mentioned, you know, do I get a rototiller and dig up that ground, or do I put in planter boxes? And I was trying to think of the least expensive, and of course, rototillering it would be the best. So I asked my landscaper, I said, do you have a rototiller? Oh yeah, I have one at my house. I said, oh, can you do my garden so I can plant some vegetables? I may have mentioned it too, that here in Arizona, we have better gardens in the winter time than we do in the summertime. So I'm excited that once I get back from Philadelphia, I'll go to the nursery and pick up some plants. I like planting lettuces. These are the ones I like in the wintertime. Lettuce, and of course arugula. I like basil. I plant tomatoes, cucumbers, zucchini, jalapeno peppers. I do like planting green beans, but I don't ever seem to get that many. So I'm gonna try it again because it's one of my favorite vegetables. Now look at isn't that nice? That looks fantastic. So we're gonna let that dry. And now I need to also look at what paper or fabric I'm going to put on the back of the journal. Now that I have some of the hardware on, then I've measured what my back panel needs to be, and it needs to be 12 inches in height and about 11 inches in width, and that is to cover all of this. And this fabric, I believe I got it at Joann's some time ago, and I just love it. It's got a French kind of a feel to it, or motif. So I'm going to add that with just my Elmer's glue, and I will do like I did before, is I will put it on here, but then I will spread it out with my silicone spreader. And I'm also going to take this piece off. And what I will do first is I will just do one side. So let's just go to right there. And I don't want to cover up a ton of this blue edging. I really like it. And the nice thing is this fabric is a little bit thicker. So I'm actually making 2 French journals. When I'm done with this one, which is the one I'm filming, I will show you the other one because they will both be for sale in my Etsy store. So I'm just going to bring that to about there and press it down. And then I will add some glue over here on this side. But I want this to make sure it sticks down and it's not bleeding through, so that's fantastic. So let's just pull that to about there and let's add some glue. So this is the next day. It's now Friday, and it's my granddaughter's 16th birthday. Happy birthday, Olivia. And so I'm going to go over there later. She got a car for her birthday gift from her parents. It's not a brand new car, it's a used car, but it's a very nice car. And the condition is, though, that she must maintain her sports activities, her church activities, and of course her schoolwork. And then she's allowed to keep the car. But if any of those start to go awry, the car will be taken away from her. She has got very good parents. I wonder where her mother learned how to be a good mother from. Just kidding, guys. No, she does have a good mom and dad. So anyway, I'm going to let that dry. I think I maybe need a little bit there. But, you know, we're also going to be putting some lace and other embellishments on it. So I'm going to let that dry. Our back has dried, so now I want to put a little bit of an embellishment, crochet embellishment on the front and then to wrap around to the back. And I've pulled out one of these little doilies. I believe it was cut from a tablecloth, and I just used Fabri-Tac on it just to adhere it down. Then the other thing that I'm doing, can't remember if I mentioned it, is around 8 o'clock we're going to my grandson's football game. So that'll be fun to watch him. Those kids are very active. Of course, they have their church activity. Olivia's golf and music, singing. Gavin is football. And what other thing does he play? Oh, and then him and Judson are both in CrossFit, or we used to call it track and field. I think it's called something different now. But they're both in that. So what I'm going to do is lay this on the side here. Oops. About there, but I want to make sure, let me pull this up, I want to make sure that my wording France is still there. So that's why I just kind of laid it like that. And it stuck pretty quickly. And then for this over here, I'm going to add this. I don't want to cover my Eiffel Tower. And so it's going to be about there, and then it's going to wrap around to the back, like there. So I'll glue that down. Now I will add some book corners on each of these corners, both at the top and the bottom, and I will do that off camera, but I wanted to talk to you a little bit about different book corners. Thank goodness I saved this. So these are the Tim Holtz book corners, and I'm telling you, when you're going to have a thick book like this is a quite thick corner there, you're going to need something like the Tim Holtz ones. So make sure you go and purchase those. I will link them in the description box, just like with everything. But there's this one which it matches. And as you can see, it fits on there nicely. Sorry for not being in frame, but that will glue on there nicely, and then I will bend it over so that is tucked in there. And the reason I'm bringing that up is I'm going to show you a couple of other book corners. So those are the Tim Holtz ones. Fantastic. And what did I do with the little thing? I don't want to lose this because that helped me remember where I got these. Now, the other book corners that I have, and they're good, some of them I got off of Amazon, but do you see how much thinner those are? Those would definitely not fit on this kind of a book. They're good if you're doing a thinner book. And then I've got some tiny, tiny ones if you were doing a tiny book. But my point is, and then these are also good. I wish I had finished a sentence. These just glue on the top as a decorative thing. But the main thing I want to tell you is have in your craft room, when you are making journals, several options for book corners and decor and stuff like that. It's worth it. Because if I had only had these kinds, these small ones, that's a pretty good size one. That would work. Let me turn this over. That would fit on there, but the color's not correct. You see, this is a little bit darker. This is a lighter one. And these Tim Holtz ones, they come in that dark color. This is kind of a silver tone one. That's a different kind of a goldish one. But anyway, I will add those on too. And I just wanted to explain that to you so that you're not frustrated when you go to make a journal. Well, I believe I'm done with decorating the outside of the journal. I did tell you that I was going to add the corner, the protective corners around the edge, and then I also added just a little bit of lace on each of the bottom sides, just because you could kind of see this edge here, and I may do it on the top also, but we'll see. But anyway, and then we will decorate the inside after we get our signatures in. So that is the one that I showed you on camera. That's the side, the back, the other side. I love these doilies. I think they add so much. And then let me show you the other one. This one I did off camera, and I will also be putting this in my shop. It is basically very similar. It's got a doily on the side. I used this fabric, which has names of French cities. Beautiful antique doily there. Just a little bit of lace on the side. This one has the Eiffel Tower here, and again, a couple of doilies. And then the inside is similar. And like I said, we'll do the signatures here, pockets here, some decor there. But anyway, thank you for joining me, and I appreciate each and every one of you. And I will see you again soon. Thanks, and bye-bye.